You're sitting by the fire, alone. The last person from your group just disappeared behind the trees, and the sound of their footsteps faded into the darkness. At first, it feels normal. The flames crackle softly, shadows tremble on the rocks, and you just sit there, waiting. But a few minutes pass, and you start doing something strange, looking into the darkness again and again, even though you know perfectly well there's nothing to see. You notice it, and it surprises even you. You feel uneasy, not because you see something, not because you hear something, just because there's no one else around. Why would your mind decide that the absence of people is dangerous? It's dark around you. Really dark. The kind of dark that only exists where there are no cities, no lights. The fire lights up only a small circle of ground in front of you, and beyond that, solid blackness where anything could be hiding. Somewhere far off, a branch snaps. Maybe it's the wind, maybe it's not. Your group went off to find food, or a better place to sleep for the night, and won't be back until morning. You stayed behind to keep the fire going. A reasonable decision. Someone has to watch it, but your body reacts as if you'd done something dangerous. Your heart beats a little faster. Your hearing sharpens. You stare into the dark longer than you need to. And here's the strangest part. Sometimes what scares you isn't a sound at all. It's the absence of sound. When other people are around, something is always happening. Someone's moving, someone's murmuring, someone's tending the fire. The world is filled with ordinary, familiar noise. But when you're alone, that noise disappears. The world suddenly feels too quiet, and your brain starts listening harder, because silence itself starts to feel suspicious. Every small sound suddenly matters more than it did a second ago. So here's the question worth asking. Why? You're relatively safe. You have fire, you have a weapon, you know this land. Objectively, nothing is happening. And yet some ancient part of you is acting as if being alone is, in itself, a threat. To understand this feeling, you have to go back. Not a few years, not a few generations, but roughly 200,000 years, to a time when people hadn't built houses yet, hadn't discovered metal, and lived in small groups, completely dependent on one another. Picture yourself back then. You're part of a group of 20, maybe 30 people. You sleep together, eat together, walk through the savannah or the forest together. That's not a coincidence, and it's not a habit. It's the only way to survive. Alone, a person is vulnerable in almost every way. You don't have a predator's fangs, no claws, no antelope's speed. Your real weapon is the people around you. Together, you have dozens of eyes, all looking in different directions. Dozens of ears, catching what you alone would miss. Alone, you don't have enough eyes, ears, or hands to notice everything at once. While you're staring into the darkness ahead of you, something could easily approach from behind. Now imagine a predator attacks. In a group, you have a chance. Someone shouts, someone throws a rock, someone helps you fight back, someone draws the animal's attention away. Alone, you have none of that. Just you, your spear, and the dark. It's the same with injury. In a group, you're fed while you can't hunt, protected while you can't run. Alone, an injury that would be a minor setback in a group can easily become a death sentence. Even sleep at night was built around the presence of others. People took turns, someone kept watch by the fire, someone rested deeper in the group, shielded by other bodies and other eyes. Sleep meant hours of total vulnerability, and getting through it alone was far harder than getting through it surrounded by your own. Even finding food was a shared task. Knowledge of which plant could heal and which one could kill was passed down from elders to the young, right there during those shared expeditions. And the very ability to warn each other of danger only existed within the group. One shout, and dozens of people freeze and prepare to act. Alone, there's no one to shout to, and no one to hear you shout if something goes wrong. So for a person of that time, being alone wasn't just an unpleasant feeling, it was a statistic. Fewer eyes meant fewer chances to spot danger in time. Fewer hands meant fewer chances to fight back. Fewer people meant fewer chances someone would help if things went wrong. Anyone who stayed alone for long faced a real, measurable risk of not living to see morning. And this is where evolution comes in. Imagine two people. One is calm about being alone. He can wander far from the group and feel no anxiety at all. The other starts to feel uneasy after just a few hours and tries to get back to the others. Today, the first one might seem calmer, more self-assured. But 200,000 years ago, the advantage belonged to the second. He came back to the group before something dangerous happened, before a predator got close, before the darkness turned truly thick. And small advantages like that, repeated thousands of times, generation after generation, slowly shaped the human brain. A brain that made someone feel anxious when alone and pushed them to seek out the group passed its genes on more often. A brain that didn't care, one way or the other, more often met its end early, eaten, frozen, or lost to a wound no one was there to treat. Anxiety over being alone isn't weakness. It's a signal, refined over tens of thousands of generations. As old as the fear of heights or the disgust at spoiled food, it doesn't reason logically. It doesn't ask whether there's an actual predator nearby. It simply switches on when no one else is around. Researchers studying early humans and modern hunter-gatherers keep noticing the same pattern. Survival was almost always a collective matter, not an individual one. Those who stayed alone ended up in a far more vulnerable position than those who stayed close to their people. And there's another detail worth mentioning. The anxiety of being alone likely started working long before any real danger appeared. It kicked in the moment a person simply noticed the distance between themselves and the others growing. It pushed them to stay close ahead of time, rather than after trouble had already found them. Go back to the fire now. You're sitting right where you started. But now you're listening to the darkness a little differently. The unease is still there, but it doesn't feel strange anymore. It feels familiar, as if you've finally understood a language your own body has been speaking to you all along. This isn't weakness, and it isn't some quirk of the mind. It's a very old, very reliable system. One that once helped your ancestors survive until morning, and then passed that ability on, generation after generation, until it ended up in you. Thousands of years will pass. Homes will change, cities will change, the ways we find food will change. But this mechanism inside a person will barely change at all. It doesn't know what a locked door is or a phone sitting on the couch beside you. It still measures safety the same simple way it always has. Is there someone else nearby? That's why a modern person, left alone at home in the evening, can feel a light, unexplainable unease, even though nothing is objectively threatening them. The door is locked. The phone is within reach. But somewhere deep inside, the same ancient alarm switches on. The one that used to go off by a fire 200,000 years ago. It doesn't distinguish between a forest full of predators and a quiet apartment on the 5th floor. It simply reacts to one fact: the absence of other people. This doesn't mean something is wrong with you if being alone makes you uncomfortable sometimes. It means your brain still carries the memory of those distant nights by the fire, when being alone really could cost you your life. A feeling that seems strange and unnecessary today was once one of the most useful feelings a person could have. A few more hours pass, the fire is almost out, you're tired of staring into the dark, and then suddenly you hear familiar footsteps. You can't see anyone yet, but you already know they're coming back, and something strange happens. Your shoulders relax on their own. Your heart slows down, just a little. You stop listening so hard to every sound around you. The danger hasn't actually gone anywhere. The forest is the same. The night is the same. Only one thing has changed, and it's the thing that matters most. You're no longer alone. And maybe that's exactly why, 200,000 years later, you still feel a little calmer whenever someone is near. Because somewhere deep inside you, that person by the fire is still sitting there, and he still knows one simple thing: together is safer.